Bunny Tears. What's cracking, Bunny Boilers? My name is Bunny Tears. Welcome to my breakdown of the new Black Ops 2 DLC called Vengeance. Now, this DLC came with 3 multiplayer maps and 1 zombies map. The things I'm going to be talking about today are just the multiplayer maps. I may do a breakdown of the zombies map itself, but I don't play zombies that much, so I also may not. But I'm basically going to break down every map, tell you what I think, and just give you a general opinion on whether or not you should buy it. So, the first map I'm going to be talking about is Cove. Now, every gameplay that I have in this video is the first time I played on any of the maps. Now, I thought this was the best idea because it meant that I'd be running around the map like a headless chicken as much as possible, so technically you'd get to see as much of the map as possible. Now, Cove. There is something about Cove. It's reasonably small. I honestly believe that if you really tried, you could throw a grenade from one end of it to the other. However, the way that all of the objects and outcrops and rocks are in the way of each other and blocking certain directions you can go in makes it seem a lot bigger than it actually is. It's a very impressive map the way they've done it. It's a very small area, but there's a lot to do around it. This map, more than any of the others, reminds me layout-wise of the older Call of Duty games, but back in the day when they made really good maps, really well balanced maps and fun maps to play, Cove is the map that reminds me mostly of their old style of building. Now, I'm not sure what it is about it. I think it's the multiple level, reasonably small map with a lot of intersections to go through and a lot of directions you can choose to go. And I think that's what the old maps used to do. The old maps used to make it so that you'd have to pick one of 3 directions to go in if you wanted to get from one side of the map to the other, but you could also go into different directions in those directions. It sounds a bit strange, a bit hard to comprehend. However, I thought, by the looks of this map anyway, generally I don't like purely outside maps. I thought I would dislike this map a lot. However, when I did actually play it, it was a lot of fun. This, in my opinion, is now going to be my favorite outside map on this game. Just because I don't like outside maps, but this one was a pleasant surprise. Now, obviously, some of the older games had great outside maps like Overgrown or Call of Duty 4 and things like that, and this isn't quite as good as those. However, when you play it, you might understand what I mean. This map is definitely it's almost worth buying the DLC just for this map, because it's very well balanced, very fun to play, and I feel like it's going to be very well balanced for every single game mode, which is also something I look for in a map. I don't like the maps where it's only a good map for certain game modes. So, this is amazing. I think this may be one of my favorites out of the new map pack, but the next one we're going to talk about is Detour. But Detour may also be one of my favorites from this new map pack, because Detour is out there. It's a pretty different map. It's got 2 levels, one which is at the bridge level and one underneath the bridge. It's got a good mix of short to long range combat, but most of the long range combats are found towards the enemy spawn or towards your spawn. So I feel like on this map it may be a bit too easy to spawn trap people, because every line of sight or every area within the map is reasonably short range. I think you could go around with a shotgun and do very well. The game mode that I was actually playing on this map was Demolition, and you'll see as I move about, it's very rare that I'm at long range. It's always close range fights that I'm having. The only times you will see me having a long range battle is when we start to spawn trap the enemy and I'm pretty much just looking straight into their spawn. Now, this can be considered both good and bad. It's good because you can take advantage of that when you're playing kind of objective-based gameplays like I am right now. It means you can take advantage of that by stopping the enemy from getting anywhere near those targets. However, it can also be considered a negative because in game modes like Team Deathmatch, I think it will mean that either the spawn trapping will be very annoying or the spawns will just be switching constantly, because it's not a very big map. It's not a very big map at all. It is well balanced. There are a number of different ways you can get around the map, and also there's a couple of little things they've added in that I enjoy. Like, every so often, Call of Duty will make a map that's raised in the air like this one, and they'll make it so that there are ways to get around the outside of certain obstacles that you didn't expect, like little pipes or a little walkway, some kind of free-running thing that means you're hanging over a 100-foot ledge, but no one knows you're there. I found a couple of these while I was playing, and this was just in one game. So this is going to be a very, very interesting map to see. I think Search and Destroy could be especially interesting to see on this map, because there are so many different things to see. When you go into the middle of the map, your eyes are just immediately distracted by how much you can actually see in front of you. There are about 14 different pieces of cover people could be hiding behind as soon as you walk into the middle of that map. So it is definitely a good map. Next one I'm going to talk about, however, is Uplink. Uplink is a recreation of one of the Black Ops 1 maps. It was actually one of the maps that I enjoyed a lot, especially for Search and Destroy. I feel that this Uplink map is going to be one of the best Search and Destroy maps in the game. Just because it was back in the day when structure meant a lot to Call of Duty, when balance meant a lot, but not in a perfectly symmetrical way. The way that Call of Duty has approached the balance side of things on maps this time around is by literally making half a map and then just copying that exact half over to the other side. So you have two halves of the map that are identical. Whereas this map was made in Black Ops 1 back in the day when that wasn't how it was done. They just made sure the map was perfectly balanced, however not identical on both sides. So I think this map is very easy to look at. It's a very good looking map. It's very well structured. There's a lot to do. Like, for example, there are cable cars hanging over the edge of the map you can jump into. If you play Black Ops 1, you'll know what I'm talking about. There are ledges you can get to, which don't look accessible, but actually are. They've brought those back. I was worried they wouldn't. However, one thing I do have to say is there are a couple of little things that for some reason they've changed for the negative. For some reason, they've changed it negatively. So, for example, there used to be... There's like... I don't know how to word this. There's like balconies across the map over certain distances, certain places. And it used to be that there was a way to climb onto these balconies on both sides. But now, for some reason, they've left one side with a way to climb up, but the other side, from the other side spawn, not have a way to climb up. And there's a couple of these different things scattered across the map where they've taken out very little objects, like a box. However, that box used to be used to climb on top of something. And I don't understand why they've done that. It seems like they've just taken out part of the fun and part of the movements and options you used to previously have. However, as a whole, the map is very similar to what it was before. I think it doesn't look as good. It looks a lot more depressing, a lot more dark. However, it is a very good looking map. Very fun to play, excuse me, and it would be a very, very good Search and Destroy map, definitely. Finally, our last map is Rush. Now, I have very mixed emotions about Rush. I thought Rush would be the map that I was most excited about, because when I saw that indoor paintball arena with all of the inflatable covers and stuff like that, it looked like a very fun map, brightly colored. It looked like the kind of map I would just enjoy from the get-go. However, what they've done with Rush is they've made it so small that it would be interesting. I only played one game on it. It seems like the community has already decided that they don't like this map. I played all night. I wanted to record my first game of every single map. I played all night, and I only just got to play this map. And that was in the Vengeance, like, game type. It was in the particular game type where all the maps are Vengeance maps, and it still took me all night to get into one game with Rush. And I was voting it every time it came up. So I think the community's already decided that this is a map they're not gonna like. And I think I know why. I think it's because it's very, very, very small, but not in the way you might expect it to be small. It's more small in a way that if you're playing domination on it, you're going to get annoyed whenever you try to take a flag. Because if I'm sitting on my home flag and someone starts taking their home flag, I can get to their flag before they've taken it. So I could get to your flag that you're taking and kill you before you've even taken it. If grenades were active from the get-go and didn't have a delay on them, you could literally just throw a grenade straight in the air and take out the entire enemy team on the other flag. It's that small. And not only that, but the directions you can go in. There's like one way right through the middle, which is pure anarchy. And then there's two ways around the sides that you can also get from one spawn to the other. However, these two ways around the sides have overlooks, like they overlook the center of the map. Which means that it's even more anarchy for the middle. If you're going to have side routes around the middle of the map to avoid the anarchy in the middle, don't make it so that you can then shoot down on top of people in the middle. Because it's basically just going to punish anyone that's going for the B flag on domination or trying to plant or defuse anything in any objective game mode. So I guess that's about it. I mean, it's ups and downs. I think the last DLC was just very good, and the DLC before that was even better. This one, mixed emotions. I think the good maps are very, very good, but the bad maps are very bad. So it's up to you. Probably worth buying. But bunny out, bitches! What's cracking, bunny boilers? My name is Bunny Tears.